Hello. We're back at this camera angle now. I decided that the closer camera angle was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst. As you saw in some recent videos and stuff, I played around with a different camera angle. So I might still switch the camera angles back and forth, depending on how I feel, but it's whatever. So, but you know what was interesting was that sometimes in order to have a really good day, you need to have just a stroke of good luck sometimes. You need to have a little bit of whimsy on your side. And you need to have a little bit of a chuckle to make you feel good. But sometimes all you really need is just that one little bit of good luck. That little bit of positive energy, that aura farming, if you will, that little bit of, I would say, very lucky circumstance. If you would say good luck, if you will, good fortune. And, well, I recently saw a movie where I really do think part of the reason why this movie was made was because of the fact that Keanu Reeves just is such a great actor overall. And they thought Keanu Reeves is literally a blessing from God himself. And someone took that phrase literally and said, what if Keanu Reeves was actually like an angel sent from heaven? And then they kind of like workshopped a script off of that. So I feel like it was this way around instead of the opposite way around, where it's like, no, we're going to come up with a script and we're going to come up with an idea and a pitch for a movie. But it just so happens that we want to get Keanu Reeves playing an actual angel. So, but no, I think it was the opposite way around. Wholeheartedly. So, Good Fortune stars Aziz Ansari, great actor, Keanu Reeves, great actor, and everyone's favorite stoner, fake, awful, heinous, douchey kind of laugh guy, Mr. himself, Seth Rogen. I know. Look, let's get this right out of the way, okay? I'm gonna make this a little spicy, if you will. I don't hate Seth Rogen, okay? I don't hate him as an actor. I don't love him as an actor, but I don't hate him as an actor. I think he is just sort of there. And he plays a very specific type of sort of late 2000s, 2010s sort of trashy Cheeto dust, ate too much Chinese food, panicking that the cops are knocking on his door at 3 a.m. sort of stoner mentality character. And he does that well. And that's kind of one of the few things that he does well, I guess. Question mark. But, like, there's not a lot of movies, in my opinion, that are out there that I personally think are good because Seth Rogen's personality is in it. And normally, Normally, I could care less about actors and actresses, right? I have certain favorites and I have ones that I like and dislike. But ultimately, how the criteria works for me judging a movie is I don't judge the movie based on the actors and actresses themselves. I based the movie on their performance. I based on how well they do. I based on their character. I base it on how well they present the idea of this character, how they bring this character to life, not necessarily the actors themselves. I separate the art from the artist. I separate the quality of their work rather than what is being presented to me on this plate for dinner sort of mentality. And Seth Rogen really is one of those people that's like, there's no beating around the bush. This movie could have been done probably without him, if I'm being honest. Now, have that been said, and that really being my only major negative about the film got some good writing in it. It's got some feel-good messages and, you know, commentary about real life and the day and age now and modern society, and also how, it does the whole stereotypical trope of, hey, let's switch places for a day, and does it in a more like not dark comedy, but more of a nihilistic comedy take on it, which I kind of appreciated. It didn't do the whole like, oh, well, I'm so sorry that, I guess I should have appreciated your life a bit more and you should have appreciated mine and vice versa. It takes the moral of that and flips it on its head and uses it for the sake of comedy, which I liked. There are solid jokes in this film. There are a few bits that I won't spoil, but there were a couple chuckles that really did get me like, that's funny. I like that. That got me laughing a couple times. That was good. So, nothing that made me like, bust out laughing out loud, but enough to get me some good chuckles and entertain me throughout the film. Keanu Reeves does a great job. Aziz Ansari does a great job. The supporting cast does a really good job. I just don't think Seth Rogen does a great job in this film, in my opinion. He's just kind of there. So, but otherwise, like, the idea behind the movie is good. The comedy behind the movie is good. It's not great, but it's not terrible or horrible. It's a decent ride. You'll get some laughs. You also got some feel-good moments in this film, too, that are definitely, like, I can relate to that, especially having to do, like, gig work and DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff all the time. People who live in their car, trying to make ends meet. People trying to get a place to, sleep for the night and just, living, couch surfing and going through hotels and kind of just the bleak comedic side of the problems of modern American day low income society, and tries to make some jokes about it and make you smile a little bit. It doesn't always succeed. There are some moments in the film that, this is my other negative, I feel like the pacing is just unbalanced. It doesn't know when to balance a heartfelt, like, oh, you should feel bad for this character moment with a, oh, this is bleak, but you're supposed to laugh because it's bleak kind of moment. There's sort of, I wouldn't say a pacing issue per se, because the pacing in the film itself is fine. It's just more the timing of where some of these scenes and where some things should have stuck the landing a bit more. So, not to say it's not a bad film. It was a good film. My other positives would probably be, honestly, that it does wrap up at least somewhat nicely. I feel a little forced. I don't want to say it's rushed. That's not the issue. but just a little forced. So, but other than that, I mean, overall, it's a good film. It's something I would honestly say, hey, you should throw it on Netflix or HBO Max or whatever and watch it. I would say even rent it for a couple bucks. Why not? You can rent it off Amazon Prime or something and Google Play and enjoy it. You'll enjoy it for what it is, a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So, but it's a good film. I liked it. It was chuckle worthy, and I got some good chuckles out of it. But the few glaring issues, like I say, sort of the timing of certain scenes, and again, just Seth Rogen overall, kind of everything else balances out some of my negatives. I guess my only other, this is not a negative, this is more of a nitpick. I was kind of hoping, you know how some movies have like licensed music in them? I was kind of hoping there'd be a little more in there, but I mean, I'm not going to complain. So, anyhow, I ran over my time limit by an extra minute, but like, overall, yeah. It's just one of those things where it's just there. So, but like, the movie is good. Minus a few issues. It's worth watching. It's worth renting. If you want something that's going to make you feel good, but still be honest in its nihilistic comedy sense, and still make you chuckle, Good Fortune is definitely a good movie for those who are willing to brave the wait and still feel good while laughing at a bit more of the sort of cynical takes on some of the problems of society as a whole currently in this day and age. So, go see it. Go watch it. That about does it. This one wasn't sponsored, by the way. Look, not every episode is going to be a sponsored thing from like AMC or Synergy or Fandango. Just sometimes I just want to go see a movie. So that's the real truth. So, all right, later.